Hey everybody, welcome back to Become a Writer in 30 Days. So today I wanted to talk about something that really holds a lot of people back when they are trying to be creative, and it's specifically pretty difficult for writers. Whether you're just getting started or you've been doing it for a while. I mean, personally, I still really struggle with this, so this is an important topic for me as well. And that is our inner critic. So the inner critic is that voice that comes up, and you may have noticed this in the past classes that we've had and the exercises that we've done, like this voice that comes up that's very critical of whatever you're trying to write, and it's saying, oh, that's stupid, oh, why did you say that like that, like this is pointless, why are we even doing this, like you should just quit and go watch TV instead. That's your inner critic. And really, that comes from fear. And it's totally natural. Everybody has one. And it is the number one reason that a lot of creative people aren't able to access the full potential of their creativity, which is really sad. And so in today's class, I want to talk about some inner critic busting techniques that we can use to get ourselves out of that mindset and just get our trash down on the page. The first technique that I wanted to talk about is actually what we talked about in the first class, and that is giving yourself permission to write total garbage. So I just wanted to tell you guys, you have a permission slip now signed by me, your instructor, which allows you for the rest of your natural life to write the most nonsensical, irredeemable garbage that anyone has ever read. That is what I want you to do. And that's what I want for myself as well, for all creative people, because the act of doing that is incredibly liberating. And your inner critic has no idea what to do with that. When it starts to say, oh, this is bad, this is trash, and you're like, yeah, I know, like, what of it? Like, that is so powerful. The more that you can practice that, the more that you can kind of combat those negative, limiting things that your inner critic says, the more that you're just automatically going to start overcoming that fear. And when you start to overcome that fear, that's when your creativity will really start to flow. So that's tip number one. Tip number two is remember that you don't have to show your writing to anybody. In fact, with a first draft, at least like for me, like in my own writing practice, I never show first drafts to anybody. And this kind of gives you such a sense of safety. Like it's just between you and the page. It's between you and the story. So when you're writing a first draft, you're telling yourself the story. And this is a story that has never existed before. So it makes sense that like you don't know what's going to happen. It's a collaboration between you and this idea that you have. So give yourself permission, just like in tip number one, give yourself permission to write trash. In this, give yourself permission to let the story be exactly what it is. And just remember, you don't have to, no one's going to read it until you're ready. And if you never want anybody to read it, you never have to. Tip number three is journaling. It is, in my opinion, the number one way to just start developing your voice and getting comfortable with like talking to yourself, because writing really is just talking to yourself. And so when you start to do that every day, you start to train your brain and your senses to notice things in ways that you otherwise wouldn't. You're giving yourself permission to write as you from your own perspective. And you are the only person in the world that has that unique lens. And so we want to hear from you. We don't want to hear from anybody else. You're giving yourself permission to put your own impressions down on the page. For our project today, we're doing something a little bit different. I want you to get a little bit salty, a little bit angry. I want you to think about somebody in your past, and this could have been when you were a little kid, this could have been last week, but somebody in some way who made you feel like you weren't creative enough, or like the picture that you drew was bad, or the short story that you were trying to write was like a weird whatever it is, even if it's just like your perception, like, and if you can't think of anybody, just imagine them. I want you to write. We're going to take about 2 minutes, and we're just going to write a really quick angry letter to somebody that that kind of discouraged us in the past. We're going to tell them exactly what we think of their discouragements. So, how is that? Did you get angry? I hope you did. I kind of got salty during mine, and that's good because we're combating our inner critic here. And so our inner critic is coming from all of these people in our past, even if we don't remember them, even if it's just society influence that has sort of stifled our creativity. We're busting free of that. So I hope you enjoyed that exercise. Feel free to do another longer version of it on your own time. And I'll see you guys in the next class. Bye.